Hi friend, this was a whole week of firsts for me. It was my first ever Scottish lochside camp, my first winter alpine experience in the mountains, and also my first ever video editing session. As someone who loves summer mountaineering but can't do mountaineering for half the year with British weather, I knew that winter mountaineering was something that I had to learn. And I also felt like I had to get with the times a little bit and learn how to edit videos. It's such a useful skill. So what you're watching is the love child of those two self-education journeys. I know a lot of the YouTube videos I like to watch are adventurous, calming, sometimes educational, but mostly fun. So that's what I'm gonna try and create as well. I hope you enjoy it. Because we arrived so late the previous night, this was our first real chance to see our surroundings, and they were stunning. More by luck than by skill, we ended up on the right side of the loch to not be affected by the wind, which was really strong. The tops of the trees were shaking, but our tent was barely being touched. And you'll see the worst of the wind later in the video, as well as my explanation for how exactly I convinced someone to show us how to do winter mountaineering for free. I'm completely gutted because we were so busy on the first day learning that I took no footage whatsoever. So all I have is a couple of photos to show you where we were and the equipment we were training, which is crampons or shoe spikes to stop you from slipping on the ice and snow, and also an ice axe so that when you do slip on the snow, you have something to stop you. And I must say, it feels pretty cool to be wielding an axe.
Get on the corner.
So day 2 was another skills focused day, particularly navigation. We knew that being out in the winter, you can see so many less features. The chance of a whiteout is much greater, and it's less easy to read a map in general. So we wanted to refine our skills a little bit. The beginning of the day was fairly easy, just following a path. Navigationally, it was simple. But it wasn't long before we saw why we needed to practice our navigation with some kind of urgency. We came around the corner on the path, we got to see where we're going, and as you can see, it was pretty cloudy, chances of a whiteout were higher. Either way, it was shaping up to be a great day, and the weather looked quite nice, it looked fun at very least. The only thing we were really battling against was the wind, which didn't let up the entire time we were out. It was ridiculous. So we did take a chance to dip up off of the ridge and into a little valley. It provided us some relief, but it was gusty wherever we were. That was crazy. Honestly, this week was some of the most wild wind that I've ever stood up in. And you'll see some clips later in the video that show the worst was so yet to come. Incidentally, that's why I chose to do a voiceover for this video. You can barely hear my voice over most of the audio. Let me show you. You can just see over there is Loch Morlich, that's where we've been camping. And it's difficult to see because GoPro doesn't film well on that distance. But there's a beach on the eastern side. And we came as far south as we could on that side and camped. And it really protected us from the wind. Thank God, because these winds have been hectic. So yeah, if anybody has made it this far in the video and has some good advice as to how to remove the wind from GoPro audio sound, I would very much like to hear it. Because honestly, everything I recorded just has that battering wind sound in the background. We had considered heading to the top of one of the nearby summits, but honestly, the wind was so ridiculous, and the further up we went, the worse it got. So we decided to traverse across the hill and find a snowy spot to practice digging snow holes. Oh yeah. We had a great time doing this. But look, it's much harder work than it looks. It took me ages to dig like a snow hole deep enough for me to sit in. In fact, I stole our like instructor guy's hole so that I could take some cool pictures because mine was not big enough. Anyway, that was quite enough playing in the snow. I didn't even wear my winter boots on this day because we were staying quite low the whole time. The clouds were starting to come in, so we visited a cool spot called the Charlemagne Gap to talk about some avalanche risks and other, weather factors. And then where I'm pointing is back towards the ridge that we came in on, where there was, 50 or 60 mile an hour gusts earlier in the day. So we just had to head back that way and then into some sheltered woods for the rest of the day. When we got back on the path, the wind seemed to have calmed down quite a lot. We had some beautiful views, and it was windy, but not super harsh, gusty as it was before. But oh boy, was I wrong. It didn't take long before it really hit us off the ridge, and you can see me at the front there. I'm walking at a 45-degree angle. My other half in the behind there, he looks like he's on the piss. He can't even stay on the path. It was, I don't want to say a nightmare because it was hilarious and fun, but exhausting. We were really being battered by that wind. But we were hoping that tomorrow the weather would calm down a little bit and we might be able to hit a summit. Starting today at Cairngorm Upper Car Park, and we're heading towards Ben McDewey or maybe Cairngorm. We'll decide when we get up there. There's still like gusts of 40 mile an hour due today, so I guess we'll figure it out once we get off the ridge. Wish me luck. So when it comes to learning how to do winter mountaineering, I suppose most people see it like you have two options. Either you pay for guides, which you're looking at upwards of £200 a day, although props to, in the Cairngorms and Glenmore Lodge especially, they have world-class guides. Or like some of my friends have done, you just buy the kit and watch some videos on YouTube and go and try it yourself. But I didn't want to do either of those. So what I did was go onto social media, Facebook in this case, posted in a few groups, mountaineering groups, alpine hiking groups, that sort of thing. And I was looking for somebody who wanted to be a qualified winter mountain leader, but hadn't yet done the assessment, had only done the training. And I got a really great response and some really good advice until eventually I found this guy, Simon, who very kindly offered to take us out as mock clients. So it was awesome. Anyway, as fun as this day was... It's time to turn back! The wind's fucking nuts! And I keep falling over. Hello there! So yes, our third day in the mountains, and we still couldn't hit a summit. There was a scrambly section up above us, that we were about to come onto, and I was having a hard enough time staying on my feet on like a stable uphill, so I was not at all feeling comfortable. And actually it was Simon, our mock guide, who decided it was probably best that we turn back. A good decision, made me trust him. Now, it's always sad turning back before a summit, but actually my mood really lifted as we turned around. I only wish that we could have slid down on our bums, but I don't think either of us wanted to look the fool in front of our mock guide, who is an army officer, by the way, so kind of a cool guy. But we were following his instruction. Maybe if we went out on our own in the future, we would clown around just a little bit more. The end of our day 3 was really easy, beautiful, a nice simple walk on the way down, and we saw some stunning views of the mountain range. I really loved it, and we got a chance to practice a little bit more navigation, which was good, especially because tomorrow was our last day in the Cairngorms, and that was really our opportunity to hit a summit, so that's what we were going to try and do. And because the weather was not really looking much better, like maybe 10 miles an hour had come off the winter forecast, we didn't want to spend all that time focusing on skills or having to focus on skills. I mean, the wind, you can even see at the end of this day, this tree I thought was hilarious. It looked like a weather vane. I mean, you can quite clearly see which direction the wind was going, huh? So on our final day, you'll see now, I didn't catch that much footage because it was kind of a stressful preparation. We wanted to go up to the Cairngorm summit, and this is just as we'd got into the clouds. You can see how crazy the whiteout was and how brutal the wind was. I can tell you I've never worked so hard on a mountain in all my life. And I've climbed a fair few, but look, we made it to the summit. And that is the face of a girl who has fallen down and got up more times than ever before in her life. I really feel like I owned this one. We had a fantastic time, and I thank this guy Sai so much. It was so kind of him. I don't know how I'd feel about taking a couple of complete strangers up an icy mountain, and he navigated us through it so beautifully and with safety in mind. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please let me know. If you didn't enjoy it, please let me know. Any feedback would be really appreciated. Peace. Oh, that made it so much worse. Oh shit. Alright, at least I didn't lose my GoPro that